Boxing Day does not mean only giving out this gifts.
Correspondent on Boxing Day. Why is it called Boxing Day and the reason for its celebration?
I've not experienced any queues at any filling station.
The usual end-of-year queues at filling stations disappear as Nigerians commend federal government. On special assignment, correspondent finds out the fate of convicted lawmakers in the eyes of the law. And the series begin, Nigeria's sports in 2019. Hello, good evening and welcome to the NTN Network News. I am Joseph Johnson. Reading with me tonight, I have Michael Olale in Lagos and Obehi Otobo Presai is in Benin, and of course Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila in Sokoto will also join us a little later. Thanks so much for joining us and compliments of the season. While Christmas is generally linked to the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, Boxing Day, however, seems to have diverse meanings and interpretations across nations of the world. In this report, Oluseye Adeagbo went on a fact-finding mission on what Boxing Day is all about, its religious perspectives and connotations.
Well, boxing, like this.
Yes, it is Boxing Day, and
Yes.
Awuyele Oluwaseun
Day to
is
box.
expecting to see the exchange of blows. From all indications, the boxing gloves is still hanged up somewhere far away from this location. Now, what does Boxing Day mean to the door of Emmanuel Okabi and Favor Essay?
Well, I do not know much about Boxing Day, but in all, I just came here today to have fun.
Let's go back a bit to the history book. Every year, the 26th of December is observed the world over as the Boxing Day. Its origin is rooted in the British traditions, and in Ireland, the day is called St. Stephen's Day. History also has it that in the British Commonwealth, the servants of the Waldo families had to work on Christmas Day, and their services were usually rewarded with gift boxes that were only allowed to be opened the next day, which was an off work to spend time with their families. Here in Nigeria, the Boxing Day is usually a public holiday, and many, irrespective of the background, take advantage of the day to spend time with their loved ones. The resident imam of Nasfat Central Mosque Abuja, Ibrahim Akalambi, and chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria North Central, Israel Akombi, who both gave the Islamic and Christian perspective to Boxing Day, said the lessons of the season is of goodwill, fairness to all, and sustaining brotherly love.
Opening of gift itself is a task. Now the significance is just this: God so loved the world and He gave His Son to us, and we who have received this gift of God in His Son Jesus Christ are supposed to love God and love our neighbors.
Boxing Day does not mean only giving out this gifts. It's telling us about the goodness, to be kind to the people.
They also admonished Nigerians to shun any act that can negate the peaceful coexistence while encouraging citizens to embrace the spirit of patriotism to achieve the growth and advancement they desire. In Abuja, Oluseye Adeagbo, NTA News.
In the spirit of Christmas, the NTA Enugu Network Center has organized a party for children tagged NTA 2019 Christmas Fun Fair. The party drew children from different social and economic backgrounds who gathered at NTA premises to socialize and have fun with Santa Claus. Goodness Matsu reports that adults were also not left out in the event.
The Rosag Christmas Fun Fair was indeed fun-filled. It attracted children within and outside Enugu. The event featured presentation by children, including talent hunt, drama, lucky dip. The Zonal Director, NTA Enugu Network Center, Chief Benny Modi, on behalf of the management and staff, welcomed the children and their parents. She advised parents to dedicate more of their time for the proper upbringing of their children.
I'm using this occasion to ask you to please spare some time for these children. When the parents, especially mothers, pay attention to these children at this age, the common saying is you catch them young. In this case, you teach them right.
The high point of the event was the cutting of the Christmas cake by the children born in the month of December. In Enugu, Goodness Marcel, NTA News.
Meanwhile, personnel of the Nigerian Air Force have been commended for the significant progress made in 2019 in winning the war against terrorism. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, represented by the Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao, gave the commendation at a luncheon organized for airmen and women to commemorate this year's Christmas celebration. Abubakar Mohammed Musa reports.
The luncheon, organized by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, is basically to ensure that troops on the front line are not left out of the Christmas celebration towards boosting their morale in defeating the remnants of Boko Haram insurgents. Delivering the Chief of Air Staff message, Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao highlighted series of successes recorded by troops in the theater in the year under review and charged them to sustain aggressive operations for the restoration of complete normalcy to Borno and the Northeast region in general.
For the operations we are conducting now, we expect them to redouble their efforts so that we can bring this
Sorry about the sudden end to that report. Well, Christmas Day ended on a fatal note for a family of 5 when their vehicle crashed along Kubwa-Gwarimpa Expressway, burning all occupants to death. Kama, who was at the scene of the accident, reports.
Victims of the accident, which happened about 11 p.m. on Christmas Day, it was gathered that all burnt beyond recognition. Eyewitness account has it that the ill-fitted SUV was on top speed before it skidded off track, somersaulted 3 times, ramming into a pillar on the flyover before the popular Charlie Boy pedestrian bridge along Kubwa Expressway. The vehicle, as narrated, was engulfed by fire immediately.
He just missed control from that red car position, so the car drawn him up to this pillar. So after he just mashed the pillar, the motor just turned. So after the engine burst, he just catch fire. Everybody burned inside the motor.
His 5 family, 2 small children, 1 year.
Onlookers around the scene, however, picked up the vehicle particulars, which indicated the vehicle's registration number as KUJ 615TU.
The number. Where is it? Give me a bag.
615TU. Police, men of the Federal Road Safety Commission, and kind-hearted individuals who rushed to the scene couldn't do much.
When the incident happened, my attention was drawn to it, and I immediately called our rescue teams to go there.
Road users are reminded that caution remains the watchword in the festive season. Kama, NTA News.
Well, let's talk about road safety, because after a critical review of the first phase of the 2019 special end-of-year patrols, the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, calls on the motoring public to sustain their obedience to traffic rules and regulations as the second phase of the exercise commences in earnest. The Corps Marshal also commends the Corps across the country for demonstrating absolute commitment, professionalism and innovativeness in managing the massive traffic movement recorded before the Christmas celebration. According to him, the fact that traffic movements were orderly in most parts of the dreaded points across the Federation towards the festivities and no reported cases of commuters sleeping on the road till the following day were reported is a positive development. Oyeyemi particularly urged those leading convoy vehicles to show greater restraint while passing through congested and built-up areas to avoid causing disorderliness that could result to traffic chaos, and expresses gratitude to other security agencies for collaborating with the Corps in ensuring orderliness in challenging areas across the country. The availability of fuel during the festive period across the country has continued to generate positive reactions from Nigerians. Abubakar Usman Akwanga brings in reports from across the states.
8 long queues at fuel stations during Yuletide became part of life in Nigeria until the present administration tackled it head-on. For about 4 consecutive years now, the season comes and goes without people spending nights on queue at fuel stations. Reports from across the country show that Nigerians are enthused about the development. From Calabar, Maureen Liu Ajon reports that major independent oil marketers dispense PMS at the approved pump price of 145 naira per litre, a situation that brought succor to many Nigerians during the period.
We know that we have action president in this country. 2016 we have issue of petrol in Cross River State, but in 2019, in December, he tried too much.
This is the first time in Nigeria now, since 1999, that we are having something like this.
With the closure of the borders, it makes it difficult for them to, leave some of the fuels outside, in the night.
Bashir Ibrahim Nabada from Dusi reports that the usual perennial scarcity associated with the product during Yuletide disappeared as major fuel stations within and outside the state capital made adequate arrangement for the product.
I can testify that there is change, most especially in this sector, because this is what I have seen to be real.
The story was the same in Port Harcourt, as Ijoma Wiki reports that motorists experience free entry and exit from fuel stations across the state and express satisfaction with the development.
Fuel supply is normal, everything is working well. No queue, no nothing.
And no price hike, nothing, and no scarcity of fuel.
Chinaz John reports from Abakaliki that stakeholders' intervention on energy security and access of the product from major depot in the country brought about the empty queue experienced during the festive period.
The government has been able to manage the flow of fuel and the fuel distribution. We've not had any queues. I've not experienced any queues at any filling station.
There's no increase in fuel price whatsoever. I bought yesterday, even this morning, I think I bought no increase at all. So I think we thank the government for that.
We have increased our surveillance activities this period to ensure that the products are not hoarded or diverted.
Nigerians appeal to federal government to sustain the regime of surplus beyond the Yuletide. Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Now, it's 4 months since the federal government closed Nigeria's land borders to combat massive smuggling activities and other illegal transport activities undermining the economy and security of the country. How has the country fared since that decision? Well, Victor Azu evaluates the effects of the closure on the petroleum sector.
2 separate arrests in May 2019. Officers and men of the Nigerian Navy saved Nigeria tens of millions of naira. The first arrest of 5 Nigerians and 3 Ghanaians was for allegedly attempting to smuggle 105 drums of PMS from Nigeria to Cameroon, while the other nabbed 8 men trying to smuggle more than 200,000 litres of petroleum products valued at over 50 million naira out of Nigeria. The products were alleged to have been sourced from different parts of the oil-rich Niger Delta.
Illegal refining sites were destroyed by the operation, resulting in the arrest of 62 speedboats and 275 suspects for involvement in either crude oil theft or illegal bunkering.
Arrests like these notwithstanding, smugglers have remained largely undeterred in their apparent lucrative trade of cross-border fuel smuggling, owing to the obvious differential in petrol price between Nigeria and neighboring countries. After a series of unsuccessful engagements with officials of neighboring countries to check smuggling of petroleum products, the illegal activity persisted and even reached alarming dimensions.
Number of petrol stations that makes you wonder. 2
close to the borderline. Some of them, you see the discharge pump facing the other side. Doing what?
Reports from the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency reveals that Nigeria's fuel supply had dropped to an average of 48.54 million litres daily from 61 million litres before the closure of the borders.
There has been a downward trucking out of products from our depots. What we have seen before the border closure on the 20th of August was a truck out of about 55 million litres a day. And now we are looking at about 51 million litres a day.
However, with pressure mounting from neighboring countries for Nigeria to reconsider, how long more can the border closure be sustained? Yet, more importantly, how much more can the gains of the ongoing border closure be sustained? In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The military seems to be the most beneficiary of the Presidential Order 5, aimed at promoting indigenous technologies and local content. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa highlights some of the milestones so far recorded in this regard.
Globally, militaries are partly rated based on their ability to develop or acquire their needed hardwares to prosecute operations. In view of the nation's emerging security challenge, capital-intensive nature of these arsenals, and in line with federal government's local content policy, the Nigerian Army commenced massive research and development of needed hard and softwares to cut down capital fight. This locally produced mine-resistant ambush-protected MRAP vehicle, nicknamed Eziogu, is a product of collaboration between Defense Industry Corporation (DICON) and the Nigerian Army.
Presidential directive was to involve a professional, well-respected, highly motivated and people-centric Nigerian army that will have the requisite capability and capacity to respond adequately in a timely manner to solve the myriad of contemporary and future security threats.
With customized reinforced suspension system, off-road capacity suitable for the northeast difficult terrain, the combat vehicle is produced from a high-grade ballistic material.
The Eziogu MRAP is so cheap, equivalent of about 10 imported ones, and is very effective.
Not only creating employment for the people, because I understand it's 100% locally manufactured. So that gives jobs to our youths, engineers, and the like.
What necessitated Eziogu brand is the consummation of coerced intention to provide troops with protection against small arms and to also protect them against improvised explosive device, which is a potent threat to the army or troops in the counter-insurgency, counter-terrorism operation in the north.
While in the engineering depot Kaduna, I was opportune to meet an ongoing upgrade of a locally fabricated helicopter by the depot.
This helicopter was in Mongonu, but we have upgraded by improving on the capacity of the engine, and we have also been able to now purchase the swash plate, part of the pitch link and the rotor, which we are now trying to install on the helicopter so as to further continue with our research and development of the helicopter.
These developments are fast-tracking ongoing internal security operations and the nation's military-industrial complex. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has assured the government and people of Burkina Faso who suffered a deadly terrorist attack that which claimed 35 citizens that Nigeria and the West African sub-region will not abandon them to their fate. Speaking on the attack carried out on Tuesday in Arbinda, northern part of the country. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President said the slaying of 31 women among the innocent victims was cowardly and remains condemned by reasonable opinion all over the world. President Buhari also recalled his meeting last weekend with the country's President Roch Marc Christian Kabore on the sidelines of the ECOWAS meeting, on which both leaders agreed to hold a summit in the new year to discuss the issues of security and economy. Well, if you've just joined us, this is the Network News on the NTA. We'll just take some messages now. We have plenty more when we return. Stay with us.
Wishing you a Merry Christmas, Nigeria. Glow Unlimited.
On behalf of the Governing Council, management and entire staff of the Industrial Training Fund, I wish to extend our profound appreciation to all stakeholders whose contributions, individually and collectively, ensured the landmark achievements we recorded as an organization in the outgoing year. Our special appreciation goes to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for putting in place policies that challenged us to unprecedented levels of performance. The National Assembly, the organized private sector, state governments, and other key stakeholders also played vital roles in ensuring that we delivered on our corporate targets, especially in the implementation of our technical skills acquisition programs that benefited over 450,000 Nigerians. In the coming year, we will redouble our efforts to proffering cutting-edge services to our esteemed stakeholders and develop programs nationwide to reduce unemployment and create wealth. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous new year. Sir Joseph N. Ari, KSM, Director General, Chief Executive, Industrial Training Fund, Announcer.
What's football without banter? We love banter. All kinds of banter. Like the banter from a safe distance.
We go beat in a later.
There's the "this is still my house"